Hello, welcome back. We were discussing about data link layer design issues, right? And we have already discussed one issue, that was services provided to the network layer. And the main service provided by this data link layer to the network layer is receive a packet from the network layer of one machine and hand over it to the network layer of the next machine, taking the service provided by the physical layer, right? And in between the transmission, within the link or within the media, a lot of errors may be introduced depending on the type of medium used, right? So irrespective of all these issues, the data link layer wants to provide a reliable service to the network layer, right? So depending on the media used and depending on the application in hand, different types of services are provided by this data link layer, like connectionless, connection oriented and all. Those were the first issue, and the second issue was framing. So we will see the remaining issues of data link layer design in this session, starting from framing, then error control and flow control. Let us see one by one. First issue is framing. Let us take the case of the sender machine. Okay, so the data link layer at the sender machine receive a packet from the network layer. This blue color part is a packet from the network layer. Then attach a header and trailer for this packet to form a frame. This entire unit is called a frame in the data link layer. A lot of information will be added as the header and trailer. What are the information added? We will see later. Okay, so that will be some control information. And this entire frame will be handed over to the physical layer, where this frame will be treated as a raw bit stream, just zeros and ones, right? Everything will be treated as a sequence of zeros and ones in the case of physical layer, and this bit stream will be transmitted over the media. And inside the media, a lot of errors may be introduced, especially if you are taking some wireless medium. A lot of errors may be introduced in between. Say in the receiver, the number of bits received may be not the same as that of sent. Just for example, it may be less or it may be more, or even some of the bits may be flipped, like the zeros may be changed into ones and ones may be changed into zeros. Lot of errors may be there. Physical layer is not at all bothered about these things. It will just hand over this bit stream into the physical layer of the next machine, the receiver machine, right? And it's the duty of this data link layer is to find out whether there is errors, detect and correct errors. Okay, how that can be done by this data link layer? As you know, there's a sequence of or the flow of continuous flow of zeros and ones in the physical layer, right? So the question here is how to make the bit stream in the physical layer reliable. And the main approach used by this data link layer is break the bit stream up into discrete frames and compute the checksum for each frame. So checksum is actually one method of error detection and correction. Different methods are there. We will see each method for error control. Okay. So what the data link layer will do is, it will take one frame. Okay. Let us take the case of a sender machine here. As you know, the sender machine, the data link layer will receive a packet from the network layer, attach a header and trailer part. Lot of information will be there in header and trailer depending on the protocol used in the data link layer. So we will see what are the information attached later. Okay, for the timing, let us just find out that this packet will be converted into a frame by attaching some header and trailer information. And before handing it over to the physical layer, what the data link layer will do is, it will compute the checksum value for this particular frame, and that information also will be added into the header or trailer part depending on the protocol. Okay, so checksum also will be attached with every frame, and that particular frame is handed over to the physical layer, and that will be passed over the media to the physical layer of the receiver machine. And if the receiver machine, what the data link layer will do is, it will recompute the checksum for the corresponding frame. Okay, and if there is a mismatch between the recomputed one and the already attached one by the sender, these two checksum will be compared. If there is a mismatch, that means there is an error. There is some errors in the frame received. In that case, either the errors will be corrected by the data link layer depending on the protocol. Some error corrections methods are there, or it will ask for retransmission by the sender. Different error control mechanisms are there. Depends on the one choose here, corresponding action will be taken. Okay, and the corrected data will be handed over to the network layer here. And the issue here is that, as you know, there will be a sequence of frames passing over this physical media, right? A chain of frames will be there. So in the physical media, it will be just a raw stream of bits. Yes, a chain of bits will be there. So at the receiving side, how the data link layer in this machine can find out individual frames, where the frame starts and where the frame ends. Then only it can group those bits together and find out the checksum and all, right, and remove the header and trailer part, right. So how to find out the frame ends, starting and ending of each frame? That is a question here, and that is solved by the sender machine. What the sender machine do is, it will put some marking for each frame. It will put some extra information in the header or trailer part to find the start and end of that frame. Some marking information will be also added, and using that marking information, the receiver data link layer can cut this stream of bits into discrete frames and compute the checksum and all. So this is called actually framing. So how this marking information will be added, or how the framing is done? Different techniques are there for framing. We can see one by one. These are the different methods: using character count, then using flag bytes with byte stuffing, starting and ending flags with bit stuffing, physical layer coding violations. These are the 4 different methods to make frames from the raw bits of data. The first method is using character count. This method is very simple actually. You can see in this example, attach the character count of a particular frame as the first field of that frame. Okay, so here character count is 5. That means totally there are 5 characters in this frame. Okay, so upon receiving this frame and checking the first field of this received data, the data link layer will understand that totally there are 5 different characters for this frame. This is the end of the frame. Here it can cut and compute the checksum. And the next field will be the character count for the next frame, like that. So this method is very simple to implement, right? Just the character count is enough to frame. And what are the negative points here? Let us think about one small error. Say this character count, 1 bit got flipped. So here the binary value for 5 is 101. Let us assume that only 3 bits are taken to represent the values, just for simplicity. Okay. So value is 101 and the middle 0 got flipped. Now it becomes 111, right? So what happens here? The first frame will be received correctly, and what about the second frame? Data link layer in the receiver will assume that remaining 6 characters are the part of the frame 2. It wrongly assumed like that. It will cut in this character, right? And the next character count will be taken as 1. So entire sequence will be out of synchronization at the receiver, right? That's the problem here. Even a single bit error can create everything out of synchronization. So this is a drawback for this character count. So let us solve this problem by using some other method. Second method, this type of single bit errors can be tolerated. What it will do is, it will attach a special character bytes, say flag, at the starting and ending of each frame. A special characters will be attached. Okay. And upon receiving this frame at the data link layer of the receiver, by checking this flag, it identifies that it is the starting of the frame, and until it finds the next flag, everything comes under the frame information, right? And upon seeing this flag again, it will cut the frame there. The remaining will be treated as the part of the next frame, like that. This is the second method. And what are the different issues here is that, suppose the flag itself will be there as part of the data, right? There may be chance the same flag may be as part of the data itself. In that case, the receiver may be unknowingly cut the frame from the itself. Suppose here is a flag information. The receiver will cut the frame from there, assuming that this is the end of the frame, right? How to solve this problem? For that, we are using the byte stuffing. What we are doing is, for each such characters coming in the data part, an escape character will be added prior to this appearance. Okay, so here the original characters were A, then the flag, then B. This is the data part. Then just before the flag in the data part, the escape character will be introduced. Okay, this will be the stuffing, and this will be transmitted over the media. And at the receiver side, what happens? Initially, the flag will be treated as a starting, right? And in between, an escape is seen here. That means that will be introduced before stuffing and all. That will be removed. Okay, and second flag will be treated as the part of the data, because we are seeing an escape here. That means the following will be a flag, and that should be treated as a part of the data. Like that, it will scan everything until it find another single flag here to find the end of the frame. This is the stuffing method. Okay, so here also you can see that escape itself is coming as a part of the data part. What happens? One more escape will be added here. So upon receiving the data, the first escape will be always removed. The second will be treated as a part of the data. Okay, and here both escape and flags are coming as part of the data. What happens? We have to insert an escape for this escape and escape for this flag also. So every first occurrences will be removed. So this will be removed at the data link layer of the receiver. This will be treated as the part of the data. Again, this will be removed. This will be treated as part of the data, like that. Okay, so this is how we can add flag bytes to indicate the start and end of each frame. And if that flag itself is coming as a part of the data, we have to use the byte stuffing to solve that issue. That is called the second method. At the sending side, inserting the special character before the occurrence of each special character inside the data, that is called stuffing. And at the receiver side, whenever it sees such special characters, right, that will be removed in the data part. That is called destuffing. Okay, it is called either byte stuffing or character stuffing. So this method does solve this auto synchronization problem in case of character count easily, right? But if you think about the negative sides of this framing with flag bytes, what happens is this method is tied to 8-bit characters, right? We are inserting characters and we are removing characters based on the assumption that all the characters are of 8-bit length. But that is not mandatory that every machine uses this 8-bit character scheme. Just for example, if some machines use the Unicode scheme, there the characters will be 16-bit in length. So it will be a requirement to include the length of characters also in this frame, right? So this is not a general method. So we have to go for some other general method, that is the third technique, that is using bit stuffing. And how this method works is based on a special bit pattern. 0, then 6 ones, again a 0. This is a bit pattern. And for every frame, this will be treated as the delimiter. That is, at the start of every frame and at the end of every frame, this bit pattern will be attached by the sender data link layer. And upon receiving a data frame, the receiver can identify the frame boundaries using this bit pattern. Okay, this part will be removed to get the frames. Okay, and what's the drawback here? Yeah, definitely the same thing happens in the case of last method, right? If this pattern itself is part of the data, in that case what happens? The receiver may be mistakenly take this as the end of the data frame and cut the frame from there itself, right? So before that, to solve this issue, we are using the bit stuffing. What happens in the bit stuffing is, whenever in the data part, this is the original data, okay, we have the data part, we have to frame it, okay. And we have one more method for framing, right? That was physical coding violation, which is not popular and which is not much used nowadays. And that is applicable only to networks in which encoding on the physical medium contains some types of redundancy. Just for example, in some LANs and all, each single bit will be encoded by using 2 bits. Just for example, a 1 will be represented using a high-low pair, right? A high voltage and then a low voltage. or and 0 is the vice versa, that is first 0 voltage then high voltage, low high pair. That means every valid bit will have a transition in the middle, right? So if there is a combination with high or low, that means it's not a data bit, and such combination can be used to indicate the frame delimiter. That is the fourth method. Okay, so these are the different methods for framing. So we have covered the second design issue in the detailing layer, that is framing, and we have two more design issues. Those are error control and flow control. Let us see the error control. After every 5 ones in the data part, we will insert a 0. Here you can see that after 5 ones, a 0 is inserted. Never it allowed to have 6 consecutive ones in the data part of any data frame. Okay. So like this, after every 5 ones, a 0 will be inserted. So these are called stuffed bits, bit stuffing. Okay. So this is the data traveled over the network. And obviously at the start and end we will insert this special bit pattern. Okay, and at the receiver side, using this delimiter, the frame will be retrieved back, and processing the data, whenever it sees 5 different ones, the next 0 will be removed. Definitely it will be a 0, and that will be removed to get the original data. So at the receiver detailing layer, this is the data received, frame received after destuffing, removing all these extra inserted zeros. Okay, so this will be the original data received at the detailing layer of the receiver after destuffing. So this is the method used for framing, third method. And we have one more method for framing, right? That was physical calling violation, which is not popular and which is not much used nowadays. And that is applicable only to networks in which encoding on the physical medium contains some types of redundancy. Just for example, in some LANs and all, each single bit will be encoded by using 2 bits. Just for example, a 1 will be represented using a high-low pair, right? A high voltage and then a low voltage, or and 0 is the vice versa, that is first 0 voltage then high voltage, low high pair. That means every valid bit will have a transition in the middle, right? So if there is a combination with high or low, that means it's not a data bit, and such combination can be used to indicate the frame delimiter. That is the fourth method. Okay, so these are the different methods for framing. So we have covered the second design issue in the detailing layer, that is framing. So coming to the third issue in the detailing layer, that is error control. So we have solved one problem of marking the start and end of each frame, right? Next is how to ensure that the reliable delivery of message from sender to receiver, right? That is how to make sure that all frames are eventually delivered to the network layer and all are received in the destination of the network layer in the proper order also. Okay. So if the detailing layer at the sender is just sending the data frames without checking whether it is properly received or not, it is called unacknowledged connectionless service. Sometimes it will be enough, right? If the channel is that much reliable, this type of communication will be enough, but that is not the case always, right? There may be some errors in the channel. In that case, the detailing layer how to make sure that everything is received properly in the receiver. So first method of doing this is using some feedback from the receiver for every frame, whether it is received correctly or not. A feedback can be taken from the receiver using some acknowledgements. So usual data will be called as data frames, and the frames which carry some control information is called control frames. Okay, so this acknowledgement is usually treated as control frames. Okay, so these control frames can be, acknowledgements can be either positive or negative. Positive in the sense the receiver informing the sender that the data is received correctly. Okay, and negative acknowledgement indicates that the data received but it is with some error, so you have to retransmit it again. So upon receiving this acknowledgement, the sender can proceed further. And any issue in this method? Yeah, there can be some issues, like if the frame is vanished due to hardware issues. Okay, so before receiving by the receiver, this frame is get lost in the media itself. What happens? The receiver won't respond, right? Because it has no reason to respond. What the sender will do, it will wait indefinitely and the system will hang for definitely, right? So how this problem can be solved? Using timer we can solve this problem. How? Every data link layer will keep a timer, and that timer will be set for some threshold value, say the transfer time from the sender to receiver, and the time from the receiver to sender to get the acknowledgement back, plus some additional delay. Like that, some timer can be set. And if the sender won't receive any response from the receiver before the timer got expires, it can resend the data, right? Assuming that the data is lost. This is one way of solving this problem. But again there is an issue. What's the issue? Suppose that the acknowledgement is lost. The data is received properly in the receiver and the receiver sent an acknowledgement back to the sender, but the corresponding acknowledgement get lost in between. What happens? The sender again will send the data same, assuming that this data is not yet received by the receiver, right? So duplicates will be there in the receiver. How to solve this duplication? That's another question. So using sequence numbers, the sender will put a sequence number with every frame, and using the sequence number the receiver can identify whether it is a duplicate or original using the sequence number. So this is solving the duplicate frame issues. So managing all these timers and sequence numbers to provide a reliable delivery to the network is another issue that is done using this error control mechanism. So we can see all this error control mechanism in later sessions. And the final issue in this data link layer design is flow control. Okay, the question here is what to do with a sender that systematically wants to transmit frames faster than the receiver can accept them. So if there is a mismatch between the sender and the receiver, and the sender is trying to overwhelm the receiver with a sequence of frames, this can happen in different cases, like if the sender is running on a lightly loaded machine whereas the receiver is running on a heavily loaded machine, or if the sender is running on a high computing power machine and whereas the receiver is running on a low computing power machine, like that. So if the sender keeps pumping frames out at a higher rate than the receiver can handle, what happens? So even if there is no error in the transmission, there can be some point at which the receiver wants to discard frames because it is no longer able to handle these frames and all. So a lot of packets may be lost due to this type of reasons. So what to do for these type of issues? Okay, generally two different schemes are used. First one is taking a feedback from the receiver in between. Okay, so in that case the receiver will send some information back to the sender, giving it permission to send more data, or it can just inform that I am just overloaded, wait for some time, like that. Some information will be taken from the receiver to the sender to decide upon further procedure. Okay, and that is first case. And the second case is rate based flow control. So there is no feedback and all taken from the receiver, but automatically the rate will be decided. Sending speed of the sending will be decided by the sender using some flow control mechanism. So these are the two different techniques to achieve flow control in this data link layer. So these are the design issues, and we will see different error detection and correction mechanism in the next session. Thank you.